Hi everyone, my name is Melanie, and in August 2021, I went on a 6-week long Interrail trip across Europe. And in this first video, I'm going to show you my trip to Luxembourg. So on August 1st, I left my hometown Brussels to start my Interrail trip, and I headed to my first stop, the city of Luxembourg. I had never visited Luxembourg before, and since it is a country which is more famous for its banks and financial institutions and not for tourism, I expected the city to be full of really tall, gray buildings and men in suits everywhere. And as you can see from these images, I was so wrong. Luxembourg is one of the cutest cities I have ever visited. It was so charming, beautiful, clean, and full of history. I honestly couldn't believe how underrated and secret the city is, because I had never heard of Luxembourg as a cute little capital full of culture and nature. Luxembourg is a very interesting country because it is one of the smallest states in the world, one of the least populous in Europe, and it has one of the highest GDP per capita ranking in the world. Half of the people living in the country are foreigners, and there are 3 official languages: Luxembourgish, French, and German. Luxembourg is a Grand Duchy, which means that the heads of states are the Grand Duke and the Grand Duchess. And while this political system was very common in the past, today Luxembourg is the only remaining Grand Duchy in the world. So now I'm going to tell you in more details what I did while I was there. I spent 2 nights in the only youth hostel of the city. The first day that I arrived, I just walked around a little bit at the entrance of the old town, and then I went to bed. What you are seeing there is part of the old quarters and fortifications, which are a UNESCO World Heritage Site. In my room, there were 2 other girls, and I became friends with one of them. Her name was Regina, and she was from Germany.
Hello.
We decided to discover the city together the next day. So Regina had heard about 2 sorts of paths made by the city with arrows that you could follow along the old fortress that surrounded the old town in order to discover by yourself and at your own path the capital of the country. I think we did this path in maybe 2 hours in the morning, and we really loved it. We saw so many historical buildings. We walked around all the nature of the city, the woods, the river, the trees, and flowers. And we also learned a lot about the fascinating history of the Grand Duchy of Luxembourg. I mean, look at this gorgeous view of the old town. It really looked like we were in some small village and not in one of the biggest financial cities of the world. So most of the time, we walked inside, along, or on top of a fortress which dates back to the Middle Ages and which was reconstructed by the French military engineer Sébastien Lepestre de Vauban, who worked for the French king Louis XIV during the 17th century. When we finished our tour, we were hungry, so we decided to have a snack in a really cool place, which was both a restaurant and a bike store. After that, I joined a family friend who lives in Luxembourg to spend some time with her, and she invited me for lunch and for a coffee at her place. She also took me in her car to show me another side of Luxembourg, which is the one for which the city is most famous for: the banks and the international institutions. We drove in front of the European Quarter, and I saw, among other buildings, the European Court of Justice and the European Investment Bank. I also saw so many banks, and I realized that literally every bank of the world has an office or a building in Luxembourg. We also saw other big modern buildings, such as the Philharmonic and the movie theater. And then we said goodbye, and I went back to the city center, and I decided to explore the parks of the city, and I thought they were really gorgeous and very well maintained. My friend Regina is going to come and join me here later. So now I'm just resting a little bit after walking so much today and enjoying the beautiful view of the park with this beautiful lake. I don't know if you can see it. I will show you later. And yeah, so far I'm really enjoying it. I think Luxembourg is super underrated as a city and as a country. And there's so much history to see, so many monuments, so many museums that I didn't have the time to do. So I will definitely come back, and I really recommend this city and this country. So Regina eventually joined me and we had a very nice walk in the park until unfortunately it started raining so much that we had to rush back to our hostel. Regina and I, we are surviving a flooding in Luxembourg. Yes, we are. We've been walking under the rain for like 15 minutes and we still have so much to walk. And yeah, this is basically the, how do you call it, the deluge with the Noah's boat, Noah's Ark. Definitely, like, I'm gonna show you. We just came back to the hostel, and this is how wet we got. And our butts are completely wet, our socks are completely wet. My legs. My legs. Hey, so I'm back at the hostel. I put my clothes to dry and I've been just journaling a little bit, keeping track of my expenses today. And I think I'm going to go to bed very early because tomorrow I have my train for Geneva at 11 and I need to give back my key for my room at 10, so I'm probably gonna have to wake up at 7 in order to pack a little bit, have breakfast, go to the train station, and yeah, so I think it's gonna be a chill evening. With Regina, we wanted to go out and have some drinks and have dinner outside, but the weather has been pretty bad and raining a lot, so I think we're just gonna chill in our rooms, probably go for dinner at the hostel's restaurant. We will see. But at the moment, we're both very happy to chill a little bit. We're very tired. We've been walking a lot today and our feet hurt. So, yeah. The next day in the morning, I took the bus to go to the train station to go to my next destination, Geneva in Switzerland. I was very happy to see that my Interrail trip had started incredibly well. I managed to arrive to Luxembourg without any issues. I loved visiting the city. I visited a family friend that I hadn't seen in a long time, and I managed to get a new friend. I was sad to leave Luxembourg, but I was also really looking forward to what the rest of my trip had in store for me.